All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 778 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And Calvin Ridley walks. It looks like he's not going to be re-signed by the Jaguars. Do the Falcons re-sign him? Well, at this point, we're not going to get that second round pick, so we might as well take a run at him. We could use him. We absolutely need another receiver. And sorry, Mac Hollins. I'd rather see Calvin Ridley be at number 18 and just make him come back home and make things right. Hopefully, he's proven that he's in the frame of mind to do so. Just make it whole and make things right for him and the team. I think it'll be an awesome idea. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. If you're listening to this on Google Podcasts, it's going to be transferring over to YouTube Podcasts down the road. You can watch the show on Rumble and Spotify. I think it's on Spotify. You can watch the show. And if you just want to listen to the show, YouTube and Apple is the way to go. I can be followed on X at VF Baller. The website is firstandframerates.com. And if you want to support the show, CashApp and PayPal links are below. All right, let's get right into this. Calvin Ridley did very good for himself last year, over 1,000 yards and over 70 plus catches. With him and Drake London and Kyle Pitts together, that will be phenomenal. Kind of thought that was going to be the case with him and Kyle Pitts together, but unfortunately, he was not. I think he played like 4 games for us, ended up being suspended at some point because of the gambling situation. Said he wasn't in the right frame of mind, had a lot of things going on, and it just wasn't a good fit for him. So we end up trading him to the Jaguars. Now, would I like to see him come back? Absolutely. Now, this would be a really good fit on the football field. Off the football field, it may not be. I will talk about that in a second. But let's talk about the good things if he was on the field. Him, Drake London, Kyle Pitts will be absolutely phenomenal together. We get us a nice quarterback, and you got a situation where all three of these guys could easily catch for over 700 yards apiece, just distributing the ball correctly with the right quarterback. That will be phenomenal. Now, what I will say to this is, it will definitely boost her up what we need with a wide receiver number 2. Will Calvin Ridley be a number 2? I think he's made his mark of being a number 1, but with him and Drake London, it doesn't really matter. Not really. So that will be nice to actually try to get him back here. I also think you to make the offense more explosive because you got 2 dynamic running backs in the backfield with Algier and Bijan Robinson. It would just make much more of a potent offense. And all we need is a quarterback. Do we get Kirk Cousins? I mean, I don't know. Do we get Justin Fields? I don't know. Do we get Russell Wilson? I don't know. What about a rookie quarterback? We still don't know. And I'm trying to avoid talking about the quarterbacks in this situation. But from what it looks like, we're going to have somebody different. So with that being said, let's try to get all the weapons that he can get. Calvin Ridley will be a great addition. Now, off the field situation. I think he talked about this before he left Atlanta. He had an issue where people broke into his house. I don't know if the crime situation will play a factor. Did he sell his house here in Atlanta? Is he still, does he still have a house here? Because like I said, people broke into his house, and it wasn't just his house. I mean, it was a lot of other celebrities who was having issues with people breaking in houses and stealing stuff. He was just one of the guys that fell victim to it. And like I said, does that deter him from coming back to Atlanta? I mean, going on outside of the scope of this show, we've been having a issue with crime lately. I know this is something that's been, a few weeks now. Mall of Georgia, Six Flags just recently. There's a couple other places. I don't know if it'll be a big deterrent for most players, but Calvin Ridley has been a victim of this type of crime. So do he really want to come back? I mean, once something happens to you like that, you kind of feel violated. You really don't want to be dealing with, that type of stuff. So I'm not sure. He may not want to come back here, but on football level, being on the field with these guys that we have now, I think it'll be a phenomenal look. And I don't know. I hope Terry Fontenot try to reach out to him. I mean, because we do need another receiver. I mean, I know there's talks about us getting a receiver in the draft. I mean, we basically just got Drake London. I know Scotty Miller could be a viable option, but we're probably going to be drafting a receiver as well. So if you get another weapon in the draft along with Calvin Ridley, I mean, now you got a lot of weapons on this field that actually could make some things happen. So with that being said, I'm all for it. But like I said, the other factors go out through that as well. What I would like to see, really, I know on offense, really, I mean, we're going to be honest. On offense, we have the weapons. Do we need another receiver? Yes. Can we get another receiver that may not cost as much? Because I didn't talk about that. We're halfway through the podcast. I haven't talked about the cost. Do we spend that much on a Calvin Ridley? I mean, because I'm pretty sure they're going to be suitors that are going to want his services. And Mike Evans, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but Mike Evans just got a $52 million deal, 2 years with $35 million guaranteed. I don't think, definitely that's not the floor. But with that being said, Calvin's probably going to get maybe 12. I'm guessing maybe 15 million. I'm guessing. Is that something worth, going out to get? If that number's worth going after? I mean, should that be the move? I don't know. I mean, we still got other issues with pass rush, and Jamal Adams just got on the free agency list. I mean, do you try to bring him in to go along with Jesse Bates? I mean, it's a lot here that we could do. So I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, it would be a nice story. I would love for him to come back here on the football field, but there's so many other factors that's going along with that. I'm not sure that we'll see it happen. I absolutely would love to see it, but I mean, hey, we have to be honest a little bit. And I think that's one thing a lot of us have to be in general. I mean, we're fans of these teams, but one thing we're not doing is like really looking at scenarios and being honest. Like I look at the Justin Fields situation. Him coming here makes a lot of sense. Russell Wilson coming here makes a lot of sense. You can make a case for even the $45 million a year that Kirk Cousins wants. You can still, make that makes a lot of sense. You can make it work for a narrative. But the narrative has to be an honest narrative that will help the team in general, not just because they, a fan wants a certain player at a team. I am more of the open-mindedness. As long as a guy can get the ball to the right people and not throw the ball to the other team, I don't care who's back there. You know what I'm saying? It really boils down to that. It does not, to me, it's not necessarily about a name. It's more about the talent. The name, always, I mean, let's be honest. The name always comes first because, you don't want to look at these guys as robots on the field, but, you want that out there. But the thing is, you just want that player to perform at the high level. I mean, I guess that's my roundabout way of saying it. It was kind of really weird, but I mean, that's really what it is. Like, if you get a guy here that can perform at a high level, like a Calvin Ridley, along with Drake London and others, or you can get a guy that won't turn the ball over. I mean, you look at Russell Wilson's stats last year, you get that guy for $2 to $5 million a year. I mean, you're basically getting an absolute steal. I mean, what are we doing here? So as long as you can get the right guy here and he plays at the highest level, that's all I care about. So does that mean at the end of the day, do we get Calvin Ridley? I'm leaning more towards no. I don't see us re-signing him. I would like to, but I think that Raheem Morris and company are pretty much going to go in a different direction with pretty much anybody that was a part of that regime of that era. Calvin Ridley was like one of the last guys that was a part of that. I ain't gonna say dysfunctional era, but where it was kind of like a setback era where things just didn't go right. And when you look at him, you look at Julio Jones, you start looking at a couple other players that was around that time that end up leaving. And we kind of cleaned house of all of that. You look at the team now, it's pretty much a totally different team. I mean, it really is. I mean, outside of Grady and you look at Jake Matthews, you look at AJ Terrell and Richie Grant, those guys have been around this entire situation, a couple other guys too. But you can tell like the whole vibe is different from that time when Calvin Ridley was here. It's a totally different situation. I mean, even the quarterback's not here anymore. So I'm leaning more towards no. But I would love to have him here if he's willing to come back and contribute. Like I said, look at that receiving core. If you got him, London, Pitts, you get another receiver in the draft. you get a decent quarterback, we're cooking with grease. So I'm for it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys feel that Calvin Ridley could resign back with the Falcons? Do you think he's going somewhere else? How much money do you think he's going to get? I feel like he's probably going to be around that $12 to $15 million mark. I mean, he put in the work with Jaguars. He really did. It's probably one of the reasons why the Jaguars not re-signing him because of that. Maybe they re-sign him after the league year starts so they don't have to give us that second round pick. We talked about that in the episode, so just never know. We'll see. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Follow me on X at VFBaller. The website's firstandframerates.com. Cash App and PayPal links are below. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.